Hi everybody, I'm Sarah Moore. I work for Dorset and Wiltshire Fire and Rescue Service. We've abbreviated it to DW Fire. It's taken a while to get used to saying Dorset and Wiltshire Fire and Rescue Service. But I'm here today to talk to you about hoarding and the implications it has with the fire service. So, we're going to discuss a few things. We're going to discuss the risks to people living with hoarding and the risks to the fire crews as well that are attending the incident in the property, and also the interventions we've got in the fire service that we can help. So, risks to the occupant if a fire occurs. Obviously there's a fire, but all the hoarding that's in the property, that's going to limit their escape route. The means of escape to the fire service is very important. So the stuff that's held in a home is obviously going to limit the escape for the person. But it also increases the fire spread within the property as well, and it also increases the smoke development. The more stuff, the more smoke. And it also can cause entrapment as well, so the person can get trapped within the property. Windows and doors could be blocked or sealed if they haven't been able to get to their doors, or that their windows for a long time that they can't open, so that's a huge issue for the fire service as well when they're trying to enter a property. They could have faulty equipment, excessive use of extension leads and things like that. I'm sure you've come across it, we have lots. They might be holding electrical equipment, motors, all sorts of things could be in that property that again could cause a huge risk. They might have had their electricity turned off or their gas. They might be using candles for example, old paraffin heaters, all sorts of things that people can collect over time, you know, especially with the winter months now. They'll get their old heaters out, and all those things can be a huge fire risk. And of course the stuff that they're hoarding, so they're collecting materials. It could be newspapers, magazines, DVDs are a terrible thing to be on fire. So all these different things that we look at that could also implicate with the increasing of the fire spread in a property. That's just a picture of a fire after the event and the amount of stuff that was in the property. So moving on now from our perspective, what risks do these then impose to our fire crews? So our fire crews obviously get alerted to an incident, and more often than not they don't know what they're going into. So what could they find if they're going into some property that's got a hoarder living there? Access and egress, that just means in and out, could be really tricky. They might not be able to get in through the front door because of possessions stored there. I mentioned the windows earlier, they might not be able to get in through the windows either. Lots of narrow channels, you know, when you're going in, you know, with fire crews. They're not necessarily that small, firefighters. They'll have their BA sets on their backs as well. So all those things are thought about when they're going into properties that have got hoarding inside. Again, they've got the high fire loading as well. An imposed load from the possessions and the additional water required can cause structural issues. If you imagine, especially if you've got stuff that's being hoarded upstairs, the extra load on the floor there, you've then got the water that has to be squirted, I suppose, on those possessions to actually put the fire out. All of that is very, very heavy, and it could also lead to structural damage. We've had ceilings go through to the first floor, so lots of things like that can have a huge impact on a fire. If they've got stuff stacked up, that could fall over onto crews when they're doing their searches. Increased heat, it's very, very hot in a fire, believe it or not, but the more stuff that's on fire increases that even more. And a flashover, where you know, it can actually impact and blow through the windows and things like that. That can actually happen at a lower temperature when there's more stuff that's actually on fire. So all of these things have to be taken into consideration when a fire crew is actually attending a property that has got a hoarder living within. A few more examples of issues. Their hose can get trapped. They have to hose it in through the door or the windows. It can get trapped, or it could actually make a stack of possessions fall. Sometimes there's properties that's got infestation, so there could be rats, mice, insects or whatever in the property. We're faced with the occupants. Obviously they're going to be very reticent for us to be anywhere near them anyway, but if there's a fire in their property, they're even going to be more agitated and frightened and scared of what's going on. Some hoarders collect pets. Lots of animals in the property, and that can be a risk as well to crews. Slips, trips and falls with the things that are around. Reduced visibility. Human waste. Sometimes there's issues with contamination within the property, and if the fire crews get their fire kit contaminated, there's a massive procedure they have to go through with decontamination of fire kits, so there's a big cost implication there as well. And they have their procedures. You go into a fire, they'll do a right-hand search, but actually when they're going into a property that's hoarding, their normal search patterns in the procedures that they follow when they go into a fire is hindered by what might be in that property. So again, the way they would normally fight a fire is compromised by what's inside that door for them. So that's a couple of photos there. That one on the left. That's the ceiling that's falling through with the hoarding stuff there. So that's upstairs. And downstairs, and again, a kitchen fire there in a property that was hoarding. So statistically, fires in a normal residential property will stay contained to the room of origin in 90% of cases. So that means if you've got a fire in your kitchen, as long as you've shut that door, because we all shut our door at night, don't we? It's very important. But as long as you've shut that door, that fire should stay contained to that room of origin. However, in a home that's got hoarding, that percentage drops to 40%. And that's because all of that stuff that's involved in the fire just heightens that fire's behaviour. It promotes the fire spread throughout that building. So again, it really does escalate a fire massively. Another picture. That's what happens, unfortunately. Everything gets thrown out the window because they have to minimise the risk of the contents inside that fire. It's not good. So, what do we do in the fire service? We've got a safe and well team. It covers the whole of Dorset and Wiltshire, but today we're just Dorset. And they're locality based, so we've got safe and well advisors located across Dorset. And they can go into people's homes and they can talk about how to stay safe from fire. We can put up free smoke alarms, lots of really good things. And they make appointments, so it's at a time suitable to the residents. And they'll talk about life-saving tips they can give you in your home. And that is things like closing doors, testing your smoke alarm, lots of different things. We also use SAIL, Safe and Independent Living, so we refer through to other partners as well for any other issues they might have in the home. And we've recently had public health training to enable us to have healthy conversations about a few other things as well. I think some other agencies have realised that people don't mind the fire service going into their home, so they've sort of jumped on the back of, oh, maybe you can help us. So public health did that, and it's great. So we can have healthy conversations now with things like substance misuse, mental health, eating habits, slips, trips and falls. Lots of different things we can now refer on for people. We do target the most vulnerable, but actually that advice is there for anybody that wants it. Okay, we can talk to anybody that wants the advice. We can joint visit with any of you here. If you've got somebody that you know is vulnerable but you don't think they'd be very receptive if we just pitched up on our own, then we'll come with you. We'll make a joint visit appointment and we'll come with you. We will fit free smoke detectors if they're required in the house as well. So make sure they're in the means of escape always protected, and obviously that their smoke alarms actually work. There's no point just going, oh, they've got one on their ceiling, let's test it, let's make sure it actually works. And we do work alongside partner agencies as well. So we use the clutter rating tool. I'm sure some of you have heard of the clutter rating tool, but we've been using the clutter rating tool for a long, long time. Our Safe and Well team use it regularly, and even our fire crews have got a copy of the clutter rating on the pumps, on their fire engines, so that they can just use it as a reference tool when they're going into a property. So if a property is a level 4 or above on the clutter rating tool, we make sure we report that back to our fire control room, onto our mobilising system, so that actually, if a crew does get mobilised to a property, and that's a level 4 or above on the clutter rating, they are informed of that on their turnout sheet. So they get a sheet that comes out when they're mobilised to an incident, and it will detail that on the turnout sheet. So we try and let the crews know beforehand if they're going to a property that's a high level order, so that they're prepared to what they're going to be facing. So what we say is refer through. So if you've got any residents you feel would benefit from a Safe and Well visit, please refer them through to us. Even if their home isn't a level 4, we can still come through and give them that valuable advice, maybe to stop them getting any further, or just to keep them safer with their collections at home. So we will install correctly sighted smoke alarms. Very important that the smoke alarms are actually in the right place. Someone mentioned earlier there was a heavy smoker in the bedroom, but there was no smoke alarm in the bedroom. Actually, that's probably a good call. We look at a viable escape plan. If they've got lots of clutter in their property, maybe going out through the front door isn't the right thing for them. Maybe going through a side door, or maybe out through a rear window is a better plan than trying to get them out through the front door if the clutter's that bad there. If they're smoking, we're not going to lecture them about smoking, but we'll give them tips on how to smoke safer. And we will stress the importance of closing doors. It's very important to close your doors, especially at night. A normal door, not a special fire door, just any old normal internal door can hold a fire back for 10 to 15 minutes. So close your doors at night is a very, very good tip. The use of linked smoke alarms. Now this is something that some people know about, some people don't, but you can link smoke alarms through to a call monitoring centre. So if somebody's got a care pendant or a care line in their property, consider linking smoke alarms to that care line, because what that does, it means that if the smoke alarms do actuate, it goes straight through to the call monitoring centre and they phone 999. So it's not dependent on the occupant phoning 999. So again, something to consider is the use of linked smoke alarm in telecare. And also we will work with anybody that wants us to work with them to try and keep somebody safe and stay in their property as safe as possible. I've got to try and make a YouTube clip work now. Bear with. I'm just going to show you a clip of our Safe and Well visits and where they came from. So I've got to try and make it work.
We are your fire service. Over the last few decades, the fire service has changed. Back in the 1980s, firefighters attended a lot of fires and other incidents. We did an excellent job of dealing with those fires and rescuing people. As we worked through the 90s, we were very successful in getting people to fit smoke alarms in their homes. As a result of this, many fires were detected faster, meaning property damage and loss of life were reduced. We didn't stop there. In the new millennium, we started visiting people's houses, not to just promote smoke alarm ownership, but to educate people on how they can prevent fires occurring. And we went to lots of homes and met 2015, we identified a clear relationship between our risk groups and those with slips, trips, falls and ill health. So what's all this leading to? The answer is safe and well. Safe and well aims to improve the health, well-being and safety of the people in our community. From the usual fire safety advice to health interventions such as falling hazards or providing safety equipment. The data we collect allows us to better target at-risk people and improve what we do nationally. But why are firefighters expected to start doing this? Firefighters are trusted and respected in communities and have access to vulnerable people that other agencies just don't have. This unique access allows us to address problems directly and do more of the all-important prevention that we know works so well. And it doesn't stop there. A strong safe and well strategy helps our colleagues and partner agencies, reduces workloads on health services, saves public money and above all keeps people safe in their homes and communities. So, keep an eye out for more updates from us over the coming months as we continue to keep everyone safe and well. Thanks for watching.
So, that's safe and well. So, I think we're going to move on. So, questions at the end if there is any. But, yeah, thank you very much.